Hello again from the Canadian North. Okay, let's try and paint these numerous pieces. Again, if you want to see some proper agitation for the paint, go and check the model ship Ron Calvertley channel, and you will see as he built a special machine to agitate these. Yeah, very impressive actually. Very artisanal, but very impressive. Yes. Okay. I think it's enough. We'll let them dry, and if needed, we'll apply some touch-up later. I think for the funnels, what I've seen before, it was like people arranged the photo etch on the funnels, all those ladders and stuff and small pipes, and then they paint everything. I think Ron does it this way. I'm not sure, but well, now it's too late. I already painted the funnels, so I'm gonna deal with the photo etch separately. There are some pieces, I think like this one, or perhaps these two also, that are visible from top and from underneath. That means they will have to be painted underneath too. And I only painted the top surface. I think I'm gonna do the underneath by hand before installing everything. Another mention, I don't know if I said it before, but for me these Tamiya paints, they work without solvent. I don't need to add solvent, I don't need to add diluent in them. They just work, they are liquid and flowable enough as to pass in very good conditions through my airbrush. And this is not an expensive airbrush. I think at the beginning of this model, I think for the hull, I added some solvent to improve the flowability, and it wasn't properly uniformed in the recipient, in the airbrush, and it went with splashes. So there were a couple of spots on the hull, if you remember, where I had some splashes because some part of the mass of the paint was more viscous, and the other part was more flowable, and it went with a splash, and so I had to correct that. From that moment I realized I don't need a solvent. This is, of course, it works for me. I don't know. I think other people usually they use the solvents and diluents, but for me it simply works like this. And of course I try to keep my airbrush as clean as possible to properly clean it after each use. I spend like 2 minutes doing the painting, and then I spent I don't know, 5 or 8 or 10 minutes doing the cleaning after each use. Yes. Look what happened. I was looking to the instructions here to try to gauge the level of complexity for the next 2 steps, 13 and 14. And I think the most difficult part would have been this photo etch here, the D2. But this one, as you remember, I already dealt with this one. It's installed. It's on the ship. It's here. Okay. So this one is done. I'm gonna put the ship back. And apart from that one, we have something for the funnels in step 14, and then I stumbled upon this one that has to go on top of this cabin that I already installed, and this I don't like because the cabin is in place. Let's look at the ship again. It's this cabin here. So that photo etch has to come here, and with my hands and everything I have no idea how I'm gonna bend the photo etch and install it without hitting other parts and without doing some damage. So in my mind right now this is the most difficult part for me. And then what do you know? This photo etch is marked E3 and there is no photo etch E3. I mean there are no photo etch frets E. There is one A, one B, 2C and one D. So the D is this one. And the D3 is this one. So here on instructions it shouldn't be E3. It's a D3. D3 is this one, and it follows exactly the bends and the perimeter of that cabin. This one will have to be bent and installed on top of the cabin. And still I don't know how I will do it. Yeah. So yeah, this is some small error here for the photo etch. I will see how I will do with that one, how I will put it in place, and in which order I should treat these steps 13 and 14, because I'd very much like to have this one installed before I install all the guns around and whatever is here in step 13. Because I know myself, I'm gonna scratch something, I'm gonna hit something, I'm gonna create damage. I will have to get very organized about this one. Now when I start to take a better look to this photo etch, I found that there are these vertical struts that delimitate exactly where you should bend the photo etch to follow the perimeter of the cabin. So in theory, once I'm bending around these posts, I should be fine. Well, we'll have to see. I don't know. We'll try to zoom out a bit. As I said so many times, you are free to laugh, but I discover things on the fly like this, and I don't know too many things about this hobby. Well, I guess the first bend will be at 90 degrees or so, and then the second one will have to be at a certain angle. which is not 90 degrees. Then we have the other corner, also at a certain angle. Something like this, maybe. It's a big maybe. Might be too much, I don't know. And then the last one, which is really at 90 degrees, but I won't be able to do it in the bender, in the bending tool, unless I force it a bit and a bit more. Okay, and I'm coming at 90, and then I try to get it out from here. Well, this is the first iteration. Let's look. So it's not straight. The first part is very straight, and the second arm here, it's where I forced it. I'm gonna try to force it back a bit. I don't know. Well, it should satisfy none other than myself. Well, let's try to put it on the ship. It's the first time I bend them like this. Okay, let's focus. Okay. I will try to take it with this one and to put it here on top. You know what? It matches. Well, might be a bit might be needed to be straightened out a bit, but this I will do when I will glue it. I'm gonna do a bit of fine tuning when I glue it. And still this second arm is having a problem. Of course I'm gonna need this one. This should have been done in advance. When I even before I painted the piece, I didn't realize. Well, it's still not in position. Let me remove my glasses and try to make it right. Of course there is no importance because right now it's only a dry run. I don't install it now. Now it's only for show. It's not gonna be glued. What do you think? Is this the position? Well, it's close. It's still not the right position, but it's better than before. Something like this, I believe. Close to what was intended. I'm curious what happens on the other side. Yeah, the other side is again is not correct. This second arm is not in position, in the right position. I will have to keep playing with this one until I find the right way to install it. Okay, I will not bother you anymore with this one. Enough.